will you please call the
Mayor Miller,
here?
Mr. Lopez,
Here.
Mr. Elkins,
Here.
Mr. Merrick,
Here.
Ms. Parker,
Here.
Ms. Cordova,
Here.
Mr. Rackler,
Here.
Mr. Self,
Here.
Mr. Robinson,
Here.
all present.
Okay, thank you. If you please stand, Councilman Rackler is going to lead us in invocation and Councilman Lopez is going to lead us in the pledge.
Our Heavenly Father, we come to you just asking you that you watch out for us tonight. We ask and thank you for the little shower a while ago to cool things off a bit. Every little bit of moisture you can send our way, we're thankful for. We ask that you would guide our decision making, that we would make decisions that are best interest of our community as a whole. And we keep you in the forefront of our mind in all decisions that we make. We ask it in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, to be a symbol of perfect friendships among united cultures.
Thank you, guys. Our next item is public comment. Did everybody get a chance to sign up that wanted to speak tonight? Okay. The public has an opportunity to provide comment on subjects regarding city business during the public comment period. Speakers' comments will be limited to 3 minutes unless the mayor and/or council requests more information. The time limit is given in an effort to allow public input, but also to move the agenda forward in a prompt yet efficient manner. All speakers must sign in at the beginning of the meeting. Topics are limited to 6 speakers per topic. My first speaker tonight is Lacey Potts, please.
Do I just move up?
Yeah, come to the dais and then or the podium and state your name, please.
Hi there, my name is Lacey Potts. And so the question that I have for tonight is, I think a lot of us are wondering what happened with Sarah Austin and why she was fired. And if there was an investigation that was done or what led to the decision being made to her being fired. And why has there been no, no public comments on that to the people in Portales?
Ms. Potts, we do not respond to public comments, so I'll just leave it with that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Danny Heflin.
Well, I won't say nothing. I'm not really.
I want you to say something, and get-
I just figured I was here.
Then next we have Mike Davidson.
My name is Mike Davidson. I had a big old long diatribe here ready to talk to y'all about, and it had so many numbers and percentages, and I looked over your packet and I thought I might have some mercy on you, and I'm not gonna talk about that. I'm gonna skip right to the end and talk about something, just the last part. I wanted to say thanks to Steve Chavis and Joe and the workers in the city sanitation department, as I know some of their challenges. Last Friday night, I heard trash trucks working late into the evening and then again on Saturday. So please be aware that many people are extending their thanks for your increased efforts. So, and I'll save the rest of the mess for another time.
Thank you, Mike. Next is Regina Sweeten.
Hi, I'm Regina Boulay Sweeten. I was just wanting to comment because last meeting I wasn't able to come in person. I had a meeting of my own, and so I watched online. And whenever it got to the part about the natatorium discussion, I had to stop what I was doing because I thought my computer glitched because there was just silence, absolute silence where no one said, let's table this for another time. No, we're not going to do this because of this reason. Yes, we're going to do this because of this reason. And I think that I'm glad it's back on the meeting agenda for this week or this meeting, because there's too many people who want to know what's going on. And a lot of us are saying, we don't see how it could possibly happen before school starts August 8th. But I think if that's what ends up happening, we just want the discussion to reflect that and to be open with what the decision-making process is. Thank you.
Thank you. And our last public comment is Mr. DeWitt. Tom?
Good music.
Backup music, Tom, that's pretty good.
Yeah, walk up.
That was a nice intro. My name is Tom DeWitt. I'd like to take a few minutes to talk about our trash crisis. First, I'd like to say it has nothing to do with the efforts of our city workers, but with the failing equipment in our inventory. We need help. The status quo is ineffective, and we are one truck or driver away from total collapse. I feel we should seek a partnership with the Roosevelt County to assist in this crisis, as our county residents are part of this crisis. I also feel that we should entertain a partnership with outside companies to handle solid waste for us, or at the very least, into having a company on standby for the inevitable collapse of our equipment. People in this town are tired of seeing trash blow all over the place from dumpsters without lids, or not enough trucks or drivers to collect the dumpsters before the overflow. And they are tired of being blamed for the problem and being forced to be the solution even after they have paid their taxes and their trash service fees. Some have placed the blame on lazy citizens. Lazy people do not load up their trucks and drive around till they can find a place to unload, since the convenience center hours are not conducive to most people's schedule. These people are not lazy, they're desperate. Most of these people are uninformed of the time, place, and location of how to properly dispose of their trash. Although I do not condone illegal dumping, I do understand their frustration. I'd like to encourage the council to think outside the box on this and other issues to assist our city workers and to solve some of our most immediate crises.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes public comment. Our next item is the minutes of the previous meeting held June 11th, 2024.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Merrick, a second from Ms. Cordova. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Next item is presentation, department head monthly presentation, public infrastructure, Mr. Steve Chavis.
Council, Mayor. We'll start with the Parks Department. We're taking care of all the parks right now. Once we get caught up, we got several trees at City Park, Road Park that need to come out because they are dead. So we'll take them out completely. And we're keeping up with the weed control. The parks, our street department. We just got a new hot box, so hopefully that'll help with the potholes a lot better. Because now we can put the material out hot instead of cold.
Sorry, that your timer. You're no.
Yeah, talking.
We just got that new hot box, so hopefully put it in hot, it'll last longer than this. And sanitation, we got 3 trucks back. But we're still short three personnel. And once we get fully at the convenience center, we'll try our summer hours, but we gotta get staff first. Because right now we can't do it for the staff we got. And then for mechanics, we're still 1 short. Nobody wants to apply for that one either, so we'll continue working on that one. Cemetery, we're moving along. We're fixing to start our advisory committee for the expansion. I asked Veronica to be on it, Sammy's gonna be on it. So we have any other recommendations, we could also look at those names. That way we decide what we're ready to do with it. We want to go zero scape, grass. Or whatever the options are. And that's pretty much it. Unless you guys got any questions.
I don't have a question. I did reply to your email and I did state that I would like to support that expansion. And I just wanted to stay on that south side of the cemetery. When we cleaned out all of that debris and the brush and cleaned up some of those trees, it looks really, really good.
It
So
does.
thank you for taking care of that.
Steve, we have personnel that you would be willing to move into driving trucks, people that are capable of doing it.
Well, right now I'm having to use guys from the street department to subsidize the sanitation.
So is it training that they like, or is it just?
Well, for now, the streets is because they never been around the garbage truck.
What was that?
The street department is because they never driven a garbage truck. They gotta learn the routes, they gotta learn to operate the,
So if we had a means of training them and getting like a class B CDL,
yes,
then they would be willing to and able to do that.
yeah. We also got our clock truck back, but without personnel, we can't put it out either.
We do have a local driving school here that would be willing to train them.
But it'll cost the city anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000 a person.
I was told by the owner of it that they would be willing to work out a deal on it to try to get us some drivers.
Okay, because the last one I sent to them cost us $5,000. And then we pay to get their CDL. 2 weeks later, out the door because they got a CDL.
But that's probably a full CDL, isn't it? Or
No, just any
class B?
CDL.
Class B.
They use us to get the CDL and then they move on to green pastures.
Yeah, Mr. Chavis, on the new hot box, is it a different way of fixing the potholes? Because it just seems like the same way we've been fixing things, obviously is not working.
No, it's a new-
This one on the other side of
It's a
the
lot
park
better
is
than the
just,
hot box. It heats it up to the right temperature.
because this road over here on the other side of the park is just, it's almost hard to drive down and we just
That was-
built it this week, but it's,
That was done yesterday.
yeah, it doesn't make it better when it's the same way we've been doing it forever. So I'd like to see us investigate different ways to fix potholes than what we've been doing, but hopefully this new one will do that.
Anybody else? Thank you, Steve. Our next item is the consent agenda. The consent agenda is approved by a single motion. Any member of the council may request an item to be transferred to the regular agenda from the consent agenda without any discussion or vote. Approval of recommendation for the following resolutions on the consent agenda. These items are all from planning and zoning items. They were unanimously approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission. The first one is PC 2024-2025 16, replat 620 West First East First Street for building a new apartment building. The second one is PC resolution number 2425 17, zone change at 324 South Abilene Avenue from a D3 downtown life work zone to a C2 general commercial zone. The third item is resolution PC 2024-2025 18, a variance at 1715 West 17th Lane for keeping a 6-foot tall wooden fence. The fourth item is resolution number PC 2024-2025 19, variance for variation of construction standards for platted but undeveloped portion of North Avenue R for potential building of a residence. And finally is number 5, resolution number PC 2024-2025 20, zone change at 1320 1700 South Boston Avenue from an R1 single family residential zone to an M1 light manufacturing zone. It's the pleasure of the council on the consent agenda.
I make a motion we approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Next item is items from the mayor council. The first item is, I would like your endorsement. I would like to appoint Michael Trujillo to the finance committee. He has agreed to serve. He's a local business owner and is expressing interest in serving. And so I'd like to appoint Michael to the finance committee.
Did we lose someone?
Dr. Snow.
Okay, I just didn't know
Sorry, I
why,
did-
how, why
I
we
should
were
have started
replacing
with that.
somebody.
Yeah, Dr. Snow had submitted that she is not going to serve
Okay.
anymore. So that is that vacancy.
Just curious, thanks.
So is there any objection to that appointment?
No.
Seeing none, we will appoint Mr. Trujillo. Next item is council dates for the month of July 2024. July 9th, 2024 conflicts with the governor's cabinet to community. And then the event July 23rd, 24, our finance director Liliana Rivera is requesting we move that meeting to July 30th to allow time to complete the FY25 final budget and the F24 budget adjustments, as well as the fourth quarter report. I'm going to add that in there too, because that one takes some time. So it was suggested as we looked at calendars, and I'll go into this more during the regular comments, but the 16th and the 30th would work if we move that 9th meeting to the 16th and then the other one on the 30th. And then that still gives us 2 weeks in between the 30th and the first meeting in August. So is there any objection to changing those two meetings?
No,
16th?
I won't be here on the 30th, but
Okay.
I don't have any objections to that.
Well, we need to start just doing that meeting when we set up our yearly meetings. That meeting needs to be at the end of July because she's got to wait for all the statements to get in, mainly for the fourth quarter report, and then just finalize the final budget. So is there any objection to moving those two meetings, 16th and the 30th, from the 9th and the 23rd? Okay.
Yep.
And finally, and I need a motion on this one. It's an approval of a document authorizing the mayor's signature on the transfer of property 100 West First. That's the property that we made the deal with through the LIDA for the old city hall. And the title company is not accepting all the LIDA documents and requested a simple document that authorizes the mayor's signature on that particular document.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Rackler, a second by Mr. Self. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I think this next item is Mr. Elkins and not the mayor, but I will. Item number 4 is a memorandum of understanding with ENMU natatorium facilities effective May 27th, 2024 through August 2nd, 2024. The city is to hire and train a manager at the expense of the city, with said manager to hire and train 12 to 15 lifeguards. It's tabled on May 28th, council meeting, returned and discussed second time with no action. Mr. Elkins.
Well, Ms. Sweeten, like you, I think several of us thought we all just kind of glitched during that last meeting. So I apologize for that. And not saying that we'll get a vote that people want, but I at least wanted the conversation to at least happen. And we didn't even have that. So I apologize for that last week, but no, I just wanted to bring this back and see where people's thoughts were. My opinion is I would love for my son to have a pool to go to this summer, but the $60,000 for a temporary solution on an asset that we don't own seems like a very hefty cost to us for something that can only be used for such a short amount of time. And those are my 2 cents. I mean, I want him to have the pool, but I'd rather us figure out a way to get this pool up and running if we're going to do anything.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to clarify when you're, just so people know, when you're gonna be against a motion, if it's gonna die, it can die, and that's why I didn't say anything last time, because if it's gonna die, I'd just rather it die, but I'm the same way. I think $60,000. I'd much rather see $60,000 go to buying dumpsters or something that we're getting the most complaint about rather than this. And now we're down to 1 month left. It would be, I think, virtually impossible to get people hired and get that done in 1 month time frame. I think it would have been a stretch to have done it in 6 weeks time frame. I know Jenna's hiring people right and left for summer jobs already and busy as all can be. So I just didn't see the expense being justified for the time frame. And I'm concerned about every child had to be accompanied by an adult, which is gonna limit the number of people that can be there, because most parents can't be there during those hours. And I didn't want kids on campus causing us a problem with the university, so I had 3 different reasons I wasn't in favor of.
Any other comments? Yes, sir.
I'd like to reiterate on that. I mean, for 4 hours and 15 minutes of pool time, Tuesday through Sunday. And I read it again today. It actually said 67,000 plus the cost of chemicals. I know we're through the May 27th or whenever it's supposed to start, but I mean, financially, I'd rather, I asked, interim mayor or city manager chief, who's not here tonight, but he said we didn't have it in the budget to do repairs on dumpsters. Well, says that it's in general fund. Let's take that money and repair some dumpsters or get some new dumpsters on order, because that affects everybody, not just families. So I just can't get there with the dollar amount. We have a new skate park. We got a new facility over there. Kids got a spot to utilize that. Let's focus on what we do have, not what we don't. Let's try to push to get the pool open for next year.
Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I do agree with the funding portion of it. I do not agree with not having the pool for the kids this summer. It's very unfortunate for some of the kids in town that's what they look forward to after school. So, that is one thing that I wanted to state. Plus, I also wanted to state, even though that amount is such a large amount, we never make money on the pool. It's always a quality of life function or department park, whatever you want to call it, for our citizens to be able to use, not only the children, but the kids as well. So I hope that we in the future can find the funding to fix the pool, because I do know that it was utilized by many throughout the summer. So that's just my 2 cents.
I would just like to reiterate, if everybody else is done with comments. When I was a kid, I mowed lawns so I could afford to buy a season pass to that swimming pool. And I was at that swimming pool almost every day from 1 till about 4 o'clock. And I thought it was, I still think it's a very important part of our community. And I would like to echo what everyone else has said, is that I think we need to go to work right now on getting that pool ready for next summer. Because I do think it's important to the kids in this community. And I was a little taken back by the proposal on this other, that it just didn't work for me. So I think probably we need to take some sort of final action on this, so that we're done and we accomplish that people know that this is where we're at least. And I appreciate the discussion tonight. So this is not a postponement. This would be purely a motion to table. So if that's the pleasure of the council, I think that puts this to rest for now.
Motion to table.
Second.
Okay, motion to table is not debatable. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Our next item is from the Finance Department. Mr. Rivera, their first item is approval of resolution 2024-14, acknowledging and accepting fiscal year audit for 2023.
Good evening, council. So included in your packet for your reference was the FY23 audit report. Pursuant to the state statute and the Office of the State Auditor, we are required to provide the governing body's resolution acknowledging the FY23 audit to New Mexico Department of Finance. This is an annual resolution that you'll have before you each year, acknowledging each audit. And with that, I ask for your approval of this resolution to acknowledge the audit report and be in compliance. Stand for any questions.
I might just add, I believe we did this at one point in time, but Liliana could not find a record that we did this when he presented the audit. We normally always do that. And I might just add, the audit has been submitted to the OSA, is that correct? So.
Yes, that is correct,
it's,
and it's public out now. But, and I understand he did, the auditor did come and present before the council. This is just a resolution to
a
accept.
formality, so.
Mhm.
So I just have one question, Mr. Mayor. Do we know, to the best of your knowledge, that we've addressed the findings that were in that audit? Or we are in the process of
So we are
addressing
in the
those
process
findings?
of working with the management response. And then that is, of course, also listed on your audit report is the management response for those audit findings. We will have to get again with management to update New Mexico Department of Finance.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the council on resolution 2024-14?
Move for approval?
Motion by Ms. Parker, a second by Mr. Merrick. Ms. Swopes, will you call the roll, please?
Yes. Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Elkins,
Yes.
Mr. Merrick,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
Yes.
Ms. Cordova,
Yes.
Mr. Rackler,
Yes.
Mr. Self,
Yes.
and Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
Right. Thank you. Mr. Robinson was not feeling well, so he
Oh,
stepped down. So,
okay.
okay. So resolution 2024-14 passes. Next item is approval of resolution 2024-16. Can I ask a question real quick? Why did we skip 15?
It was kind of an accident and the way the numbers fell and the way the departments requested numbers for the resolutions.
Oh, we got it. It's later. Okay.
Yes,
Got it.
it's later. It's in there,
All
but
right,
it's
sorry.
just the way people.
Well, I'm
act.
sorry I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. So this resolution is another formality and annual requirement, and it's certifying the city's assets. Also included in your packet is the asset listing for the current fiscal year. Department heads and supervisors are tasked with the accountability of the city assets and their records. Currently, Ms. Valdez is heading up our asset management to maintain our assets and the recording and any changes to them. She will be working with department heads to record and make the changes for our any asset listing. With that, I respectfully ask for your approval, and we'll stand for any questions for this
Questions from
resolution.
Ms. Rivera? What's the pleasure of the council?
Move we approve resolution 2024-16.
Motion by Mr. Elkins, a second by Mr. Lopez. Ms. Swopes, will you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Elkins,
Yes.
Mr. Merrick,
Yes.
Ms. Cordova,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Rackler,
Yes.
Mr. Self,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson. Okay.
Okay. Your approval. Thank you very much. It's very nice to have a finance director at our meeting. That's all I've got to say. Next is our project administrator, Joe McVeigh. Approval to publish solicitation for the all hazard mitigation assistant request for proposals, allowing for proper procurement laws to be followed in selection of a firm to carry out the scope of work in the hazard mitigation assistant grant awarded by the Homeland Security Emergency Management Department.
I'm not Joe.
Okay. Well, that's
No,
what it says on my deal.
it's on there. It was originally she was going to do it, but I offered to do it since it is mine and I didn't feel it was fair for her to do it. So
Well, thank
I'm Marie Brzezowski. I'm the emergency manager for the city of Portales. The reason why I'm presenting instead of Joe is because this is in reference to the hazard mitigation grant that I've done, and Joe, working closely with Joe, who's done much of the heavy lifting on it. I can't thank her enough. I believe she's done an amazing job. But working with her, a request for proposal for a firm to assist with the all hazard mitigation plan. We believe it's ready for publication. This will allow for a selection of a firm to assist with the project, which will be using funds previously mentioned with the hazard mitigation grant. This RFP has been reviewed and approved by several agencies besides the city. The New Mexico Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management Grant Specialists, the New Mexico Municipal Attorneys Association, and since this is a collaborative effort with the Roosevelt County, Roosevelt County Offices of Procurement and the Offices of Emergency Management have reviewed this procurement. This lengthy process has allowed us to ensure that this RFP meets the strict standards of the multiple agencies who are stakeholders in this proposed hazard mitigation project and the grant funds that will be used for it. I asked permission to request proposal to be allowed for us to select the best contractor for our project as its needs. I'm open for questions, and I'm sure that Joe can also answer any questions you may have.
Questions?
Yes, yes, please. What are we mitigating?
Well, it's a all hazard mitigation plan. This references, traditionally it references natural hazards that could hit the city and the county, hail, tornadoes, earthquakes, volcanoes, literally anything that's a physical, natural thing that can hit the county. I'm also going to be asking for within the proposal that we also include man-made things, such as railroad hazard mitigation, hazardous materials, as well as anything else that we believe that may happen, major vehicle accidents, airplane accidents.
Okay, so it's not something that has happened. It's something we're trying to make sure we have the funds available when it does happen.
We're trying to make certain that we have plans and resources available.
Okay.
It'll spot our opportunities for improvement and what resources we have and allow us to better plan for future activities.
Perfect, thank you.
What was the point system on the paperwork? I didn't understand that. Like, said 150 points. What are we based on?
Yeah,
More
it'd be,
money we get based on how many points we receive, or can you explain?
it's 150 points for the response for I'm sorry, I have to go with Joe on this. She's more prepared to answer these questions.
So, thank you. So, in an RFP, whenever you're going through it, and if you are comparing and contrasting your different proposals that come in, then you have a point system. And so you're reading each proposal and they are supposed to match up with those particular topics in your points. And if they do, then they get a certain amount of points. Does that make sense?
Like a rating scale.
Like a rating scale, yes. So, if they meet a particular criteria, or if they only meet partial to that criteria, you only give them partial points. So then at the end of your evaluation, you look at who has the most points and why.
Okay.
Thank
So
you,
it's
Joe.
you're welcome.
Any other questions? It's a pleasure to council.
Move to approve.
Motion by Ms. Cordova, second by the lady down there. Ms. Parker. I drew a blank for a minute there, Diane, I'm sorry. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
No.
Motion carries one no vote.
Thank you.
Next, Kelly, are you doing this before I announce your name? Is there somebody else that's going to do this? And okay,
I feel like a different person every day.
Community Services, Kelly McClellan, Director. The first item is approval of resolution 2024-15, an emergency abatement of the building at 815 East First Primitive Baptist Church due to structural concerns.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. So today we're coming up, we're asking for an emergency abatement of this building. It's behind Pat's, kind of by the Sonic area. We had planned on starting this project in July, but after heavy rainfall a couple weeks ago, we had some more structural collapse on the roof. So we are getting Steve's to do an emergency abatement. Instead of having it declared, they wait 90 days. They give more time, they go to the court, and it takes usually about a year to start a demolition project. We speed that up by going to the court and saying this is an emergency safety. We would like to get approval to immediately go into the demolishment. We'll go to the next one. We did some pictures. And this is just pretty much a week, less than a week, 5 days difference. You can see before and after the rainfall. One more. I think that goes to. One more. Oh, that's it. So what we looked for is we did have a building inspector come down. Of course, he did declare it also a health hazard due to its structure. We have posted and sent letters on this. However, the address on file is to this. So any letters we send to the owner go to this abandoned building. And we have posted it, but of course it is still an abandoned building. As far as we're aware, all owners are deceased. So this would go to the court. They'd give us permission to start. It'd still be a while out because we have to do asbestos testing. We have to get someone to come and test for asbestos. If they test positive for asbestos, then we have to find a crew who can do it with asbestos. The downside is we rarely make the money back that we put into demolitions and property cleanups. So that's something to be considered, but I do believe it is a health hazard. So I'm coming before you to seek approval to start with this emergency abatement with the courts.
Questions for Kelly?
You'd said last meeting that somebody was living in there. Have we gotten them out?
They have been boarded up, but we do have a history of this building being lived in.
Any other questions? What's pleasure on resolution 2024-15?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Elkins, second by Mr. Self. Ms. Swopes, we call the roll, please.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Elkins,
Yes.
Mr. Merrick, Ms. Parker,
Yes.
Ms. Cordova,
Yes.
Mr. Rackler,
Yes.
Mr. Self.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 2024-15 is approved. Next item is public hearing for amendment on ordinance 676 downtown ordinance. Before I go into public hearing, Kelly, can you explain the amendment to the ordinance, please?
Of course, and I didn't send the right updated PowerPoint, so you just have to listen to me instead of having some nice visual aids. So the downtown ordinance was published, I believe, in 2009, 2008. And it set the a certain area around Main Street as a special zoning that has some more restrictions and rules. They have very the one thing I've always not really liked about that ordinance is there's no variances allowed for zoning. If a business wants to go into a place that does not allow retail, then there's no way for them to be allowed to do that by coming in front of council. The ordinance specifically does not allow it. And we have some buildings in there that are in states of disrepair. And we've talked to the property owners, and one of their big problems is they cannot get businesses to buy those buildings because the businesses that want to buy the buildings are not allowed there. And they will not be zoned for that. So this, we met with it. We had a committee done. It had 2 P&Z members, 2 city council members, the economic development director, and a local business owner and myself. Look over this ordinance. The main changes of the ordinance, everything was left the same. We just changed the zoning. So it was less restrictive zoning and more business friendly. We removed, allowed the variance. So if the lease is not allowed, they can come before city council and planning and zoning to get a special approval and consideration. One of the smaller things that is on there that previous management has asked for was using this to change the direction of traffic between the courthouse and the courthouse cafe. So we sent letters out, we didn't get any responses. That's not particularly my main interest in this. And the committee was very ambivalent about it. If the council was okay with it, they were fine with it. The council didn't like it. They weren't pressed about that being changed. I believe it was originally recommended because we had some accidents with people backing out and being hit on that street. So if you have any questions about that ordinance or some of the changes, I'd be happy to answer those.
Okay, before we go to the council, I need a motion to go into a public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Ms. Parker, second by Ms. Cordova. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. We are now in a public hearing, and I would ask the public if there is anyone here that would like to speak in favor of this amendment to this ordinance. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in opposition to this ordinance? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
Motion by Mr. Self, second by Ms. Parker to close the public hearing. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next item is action by the council on the amendment to the ordinance.
Time out.
Hmm?
Sorry, time out.
No, I'm reading
Okay,
this and then
go
we
ahead.
can do questions, okay?
Thank you. I was lost.
If you don't mind.
Sorry, I was lost.
Okay, so then our next item is action by a council on the amendment to ordinance 676, the downtown ordinance. Now, discussion and questions. I'm supposing you'd like to go.
I would
All
like.
right, there you go.
I guess I'm a little bit confused about the direction of traffic. I thought it was pretty clear when this council discussed it last time that we were not in favor of changing that to a one-way. That we wanted to look at other parking options, changing the direction a little bit of the parking spots. We presented 2 or 3 ideas that could have been. So I'm confused why that's still on there, and if we have the option to remove that
You have
part
the
of it,
option.
but still pass the ordinance.
Let me answer that. The reason it's still on there is that the way the ordinance was proposed. At this point, we can make amendments to that ordinance. And so if that's the pleasure of the council, we can have a motion to amend that out of the ordinance. And then adopt the ordinance or any other amendments that we want to make. Okay,
Perfect.
so. Any other questions? Go ahead.
I would just like to say that I am opposed to the one-way traffic also, so. There is no way to bring traffic back in from the north side of Main unless you go around the square to get back on to 70 to go north, because we've still got commercial and Abilene closed off because of the old JD High School. And they had a lease with the city on that street and closing that off, so I think that it would be worth some talks with JD High School to discuss opening that back up, maybe them vacating their lease on that since the grain elevator has been removed. They do have a process plan for a minerals and feed down the other end. But they don't have near the truck traffic they used to whenever that was closed off previously, so it might be beneficial to have discussions with them about opening that commercial street back up. That would give us another avenue to cross town. So, but I would oppose turning that section of Main Street back into a one-way just because of the traffic situation. We've already got street lights set up and everything else forward to what it is now. I feel like changing the parking spot, either allowing parallel parking or changing the angle of the parking spots will help tremendously on that aspect and get us out of the congested situation that we have now.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I'll add one. And just looking at that map where the pinkish area is, where the old city hall building is. Remember that building was went through Lita and we're adding a new parking lot there. So there will be additional parking there, and part of that agreement was that we will provide public parking. So there is going to be 25% additional parking there for the public. And so that was one thing that I wanted to add there. And then I do just want to make a comment of possibly striping the lanes. Nobody is aware that is just, you got one lane, and when people go to try and turn, it becomes 2-lane very, very quickly. And I got a ticket I got pulled over. I didn't get a ticket, but I did not know that you could not go around cars turning. So if we can have it painted or signs that say 1 lane, that may help some of that.
Actually, the seam that's in the street that everybody feels like is the
Dividing line.
street is not the seam.
No, it's not.
That's a lot closer to parking up next to the businesses on the north side as well.
Any other comments? Is there a proposal for an amendment to amend the one-way or removing the one-way?
Yes, I'd make a motion to approve the
Okay.
amendment with the exception of
I
removing the
think the
one-way
proper
parking.
way would be to move the amendment. Get the amendment in it.
Okay.
And then approve the amended ordinance.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay,
Make a motion to amend so that there is still two-way traffic in front of the courthouse.
I'll second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Do I need a roll call on this amendment? I don't. believe I do. Okay. So all those in favor of the amendment to the proposed ordinance signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign, motion carries. Now I would like action on the amendment to ordinance 676 as amended to the downtown ordinance.
Move to approve ordinance number 676 as amended.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Riva, second by Mr. Elkins. Ms. Swopes, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Mr. Lopez.
Yes.
Mr. Elkins,
Yes.
Mr. Merrick,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
Yes.
Ms. Cordova,
Yes.
Mr. Rackler,
Yes.
Mr. Self.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 676 as amended is amended. Thank you. That concludes our action items. The next item in our agenda is city council staff comments. I'll start with staff. Start in the back with you, chief. Anything?
He had a new officer, the lateral hire that started last week.
Good deal.
One more closer.
You know, anything?
I'm fully staffed.
Anyone else back there? I'm just gonna go along the back row. Anybody else? Lily? There?
Okay.
Ladies back here? Ms. Swales?
Yes, I would like to take a moment. Thank you for letting me do this. And there is the lady who I think her cell phone went off a couple of times. This is Emily Bailey. She's our new transit coordinator. And I just wanted to introduce her to everybody and have you welcome her to our city staff. She is a lovely person. She's only officially been on the job for 1 week, but she's already really anxious to get going and make great strides in bringing this department back to life. It hasn't completely died, but because of the severe loss of staff back in January, it was left with one driver. And so she's working to fix all the problems. We now have her in place. She will be the coordinator dispatch, and then we have 2 drivers. And we're hoping to add at least 1 or 2 other drivers. So I just wanted to introduce you guys to Ms. Bailey.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
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 I like you already. You have a great ringtone.
Okay, anyone else with staff? Start with Mr. Elkins,
None.
Mr. Lopez,
None.
Mr. Self,
None.
Mr. Rackler,
Already covered them all in the meeting. You're good.
Ms. Parker,
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Merritt.
I did have, I'm just gonna. So chief, do we still have officers in Ruidoso helping out?
We have 2 down there till Thursday.
And do we have fire personnel there also?
I don't know.
We were not requested.
Okay, I knew we were on
Paperwork was
standby.
filled out.
I didn't know if we'd ever send anybody out, so.
They did not request us after all the paperwork was filled out.
I know there was a lot of hoopla on Facebook about why we didn't jump out there and do some things. People do not understand what all is going on behind the scenes. And the constant contact that the staff was in with everyone. And I just wanted to make that apparent so that you guys didn't catch the brunt of that, because everything was being done that needed to be done. You were in constant contact with everyone that you needed to be in contact with. Everybody out there just needs to kind of take a chill pill, because it was being taken care of.
Yes, sir. It's at some time for, I mean, AJ various kind of getting things organized. You gotta have places to put people, right, to be able to feed them.
Right.
And we would have just sent people down there, it would be chaos.
Well, I talked to Mayor Crawford and that's the last thing he wanted, so people to be showing up that weren't part of the coordinated effort, because then that just makes everything more complicated, so, and I appreciate you bringing that up, Bill, because
There was a lot of people that were willing to volunteer and make sure that people that were displaced were taken care of, but our staff was amongst those people. I just wanted to make sure that was noticed. So,
thank you. Do you have anything else?
No.
Okay. Cory?
That was mine as well. I just wanted to see if maybe Antoinette had anything that she was going to do with them.
Sorry, as of now, they've no longer requested any further assistance. Now, it's gonna be a long process that they're gonna be doing. They still might request fire department or additional people from the law enforcement, just as a cleanup type thing. I know that they stated that either me or Johnny Montiel might be requested to go out there to help with the recovery of part of it. But yeah, they're opening back up in Ruidoso, so that people are still able to go home. They actually have shelters with laundry and showers available right in Ruidoso, Jeff Downs. So they're starting to slowly shut down the shelters in Roswell and allowing people to go back. They have it about 38% contained, I believe, on the salt fire. And I think, well, no, correction, it was a little over 50% of the salt fire.
54 was the last one.
There we go. Yeah, I remember that. And then on the South Fork fire, it's 38%. So they're making progress, much progress. I think it's the main help.
Well, we appreciate your department offering that help as well. And I know that you're part of the recovery, you and Johnny as well. So thank you guys for that as well. And that's all I have.
Okay. A couple of things I want to remind people, we talked about it earlier, the Cabinet Community that's coming up on July 9th. I believe that from 4 till 7, just pulled it up here. There's, from 4 till 7, there's the Resource Expo, which will be in the Campus Union Building upstairs in the ballroom. And then from 5:30 to 7 is the town hall, with which Governor Grisham will be here and will take answers along with her cabinet members. So put that on your calendars. One other thing, and Eldon, you brought this up to me the other day, and I just wanted to bring it up. We had that workshop in March, and we got to the end of the day, and I knew that there was a couple of items that, and one particularly was finance. And obviously you're aware of what happened with our finance department, and I visited with Lily the other day. So I think that part, we probably need to wait and let her get caught up, get through this fiscal budget, get things started on the audit. But I do want to have it sometime on that portion anyway, early September at the latest. If we can do it earlier, I'd like to do that, because one of the items that I want to talk about is and it's something that you put on your deal here, is what revenue options do we have, and what's the capacity of those? And I think that would hopefully take a good deal of time. So I think when we get that straightened out, we'll do that. We'll get Public Works in there, because I think part of that revenue structure would deal with Public Works as well, and some of the items that we were talking about today. So just keep reminding us of that, and we will get that together as near, maybe after school starts, when people are a little more congealed in the community. So that's all I have. And with that, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
No.
I'm sorry, we were not adjourned. I forgot. I put my phone in front of my agenda. I reversed that adjournment. So our next item, thank you. Our next item is action to convene into closed meeting to discuss matters as provided for under New Mexico statute relating to limited personnel matters regarding interim city manager position. Need a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Parker, second by Mr. Elkins. Ms. Swopes, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Mr. Lopez.
Yes. Mr. Elkins,
Yes.
Mr. Merrick,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
Yes.
Ms. Cordova,
Yes.
Mr. Reckler,
Yes.
and Mr. Self.
Yes.
Okay, we are going into executive session. Need a motion to come. Executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Parker, second by Mr. Self. Come out of executive session. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next item, is there action that needs to be taken after the discussion in executive session?
There is action that needs to be taken. I would like to make a motion to extend interim managers, Chief Kathy's contract through July 30th as is.
Second.
Okay. Did you get that motion? Okay.
Yes.
Do I have a motion by Ms. Cordova, a second by Ms. Parker to extend TJ's interim contract through July 30th? Is there any further discussion on the motion?
Can I ask on the motion, we're talking about without the any changes, correct?
Extending the current contract. Yes, sir. Or that's my understanding.
That is correct.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
Aye.
Okay, one objection. Did you get that? Okay. Now then, I think it's okay. We are adjourned.